Hi cooking cronies, today I am going to alter the country white bread recipe that I posted before. I'm just trying to health it up a little bit, so instead of using 6.5 to 7 cups of all-purpose flour, I am substituting 2 cups of whole wheat flour and 1 cup of oats. The rest of the recipe is going to be the same, but I just want to change it up a little bit, health it up, and see what happens. Okay, to start my recipe, I have heated my large bowl that I'm going to put my yeast and water in. So in this bowl, I'm going to dissolve the yeast in warm water, and it's 2 cups of warm water. And I will mix this to dissolve it, dissolve the yeast, and I'm going to add my sugar, which is a 1/2 cup of sugar. And this just helps feed the yeast, activates it better. So I have my yeast, my water, and the sugar in the bowl, and just stirring it around so that it can activate. So I've already pre-measured all the ingredients, the all-purpose flour, the whole wheat flour, and the oats. But meanwhile, while my yeast is activating, I'm going to just beat these 2 eggs that I brought to room temperature, and that way they're ready to go. Don't need to totally beat them, but I do want to get them broken up a little bit, just so they incorporate a little bit better in the recipe. All right, that looks good. So I'm going to add the egg mixture to my yeast and water mixture. Stir that around. Okay, now I have the oil, which I have pre-measured, and it's a 1/2 cup of oil. This is vegetable oil today. Last time I used canola. It's just really an oil that doesn't have flavor. I didn't want to use olive oil. It's a little stronger in flavor, and I just didn't want that in this recipe. I'm going to add the salt, which is 2 teaspoons of salt. I'm going to add, instead of adding my all-purpose flour first, I'm going to add my whole wheat flour, which is here, and then I will incorporate the oats. So I'll put my dough hook on and we'll start. Okay, my dough hook's on, and I'm going to, before I start it, I'm going to go ahead and just put the whole wheat flour in there. Maybe. Doesn't want to come out of the bowl. A little bit of bay leaf, as you can see. Didn't want that to go in my bread. I keep bay leaf in all my flour, sugar, everything. It just keeps weevils out. Don't know why, but it does. Before it works. Okay, let's turn that on. I'm going to put the oats in next. Turn. My mixer back on and begin adding more flour. I'm going to add the whole 3 more cups, so it'll be a total of 6 cups that will be in this mixture. lovely. I'll move you closer to my beater here. Can you see that? It looks gorgeous. I'm going to remove the shield. And now I'm going to begin to add more flour to this mixture because it's still too soft to handle. Turning it up a little bit. So the faster it goes, the better the cleaning of the bowl happens. So here we go. It's getting there. I'm going to turn it down to add the flour. I'm going to add just about half of a cup. Once it gets to a little better consistency where it's not so sticky, I'm going to put it onto my counter. I'm going to lightly flour my counter and then turn the dough onto it and then hand knead it for just a little bit. And then I'm going to put it back into a bowl, a greased bowl, and let it rest for 1 hour. Looking really good. So I'm going to turn off my machine and prepare my countertop to knead this dough. Sprinkle some of the flour onto my dough, or onto my countertop, and then use a little bit on the dough hook just to release the dough that's on there. It's sticky. All right, I'm going to add some more flour here just to help me get it out. All right, we're going to empty this onto the floured countertop. I don't know about you, but there's no better smell than the smell of yeast when you're making bread. All right, as you can tell, it's pretty sticky. So I'm going to put some flour in there. I want to release as much of the dough as I can. So I'm smoothing this. Vicki Marie, who is my cooking crony partner, has been doing recipes on her own, which is fabulous because our schedules somehow haven't worked out where we can film and do things together. So hopefully sometime soon we will get together and do a recipe together for you. Okay, now I'm going to incorporate this dry dough that I pulled off out of the bowl, and I'm going to knead it. So I'm going to add a little more flour and begin kneading. And when I say kneading, you're going to grab from the outside and push, and grab and push. Now it's really sticky, so you're going to be adding flour as you go. Okay, so you use the ball of your hand to push and knead. And I'm going to knead until it's soft and smooth. And I found the last time I did use a whole 7 cups. I used what remaining flour I had measured, pre-measured, on my countertop just to keep the dough from sticking. So keep that extra 7th cup handy so that you have it to continue to mix your dough, so your countertop's not stealing it from you. I have to tell you, the last time I made this, which was just a couple weeks ago, it makes 2 loaves. And I wanted to try out the new recipe. And I've been making bread ever since our St. Joseph table. This is a different kind of bread, however. It's not a sweet bread. And my family just devoured it. My mother-in-law was living with us, and she loved the bread. Requested it every morning with butter and jelly. I just liked it with butter. I'm not so much a sweet person. I like salty, but I do like Vicky's brownies when she makes them. Okay, it's getting to where I want it to be. It's still going to be a little sticky. It's going to be very soft, but it's where I want it to be. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to get a clean bowl and I'm going to grease it. I could wash out my bowl that I mixed everything in, but I like to put my mixer away, and I don't want to put it away until the bowl's clean, so I don't want to wait a couple hours or an hour to put my stuff away, so I'm going to put it in a different bowl. All right, this looks gorgeous. Okay, let's get another bowl out. And I'm going to put some vegetable oil in it and then put the dough into this bowl. So I probably use about a couple teaspoons of vegetable oil in the bowl, like so, and just move it around so it's covering the sides. And then I'll place the dough in here. And when I do, I'm going to put the dough in and then flip it, just so all edges, all sides of the dough have oil and they don't stick to the pan. So here we go. Beautiful dough, smells wonderful. And then I'm going to flip it. Woo. And then I'm going to put it in a warm spot, just so that it can double in size, which will be about an hour. So I'm going to cover it with some plastic wrap and set it aside. I'll be back in an hour. Okay, it's been an hour. Look at this beautiful dough. I'm going to uncover it, punch it down, and I'm going to divide it into 2 loaves. So I will need a little flour here on my board. So I'm going to take it out of the bowl. All right. Oh my gosh. There's nothing better than the smell of dough, in my opinion. Okay. All right, I'm going to use my bench cutter and cut this dough in half. Hopefully I'll get it even or close to it. And I'm going to set one aside and work on one. Okay, so I'm going to first make it into a ball. This gets the air bubbles out and makes for a prettier loaf. Okay, so now I'm going to flatten my dough. To make my loaf. And I'm going to bring in about a third, and then I'm going to bring in the corners. And I'm going to push it. And then I'm going to do it again. And push. And roll and push. And roll and push. I'm going to use a little more flour because it's sticking. And I'm going to continue to do this until I get to the size I want. Push. And you know I can see bubbles. So I'm going to pop them before I continue. So I don't want big air pockets in my bread. So I'm going to turn it over and I'm going to pinch the seam and the ends. And then I have my glass bread pans and I'm going to spray them with some cooking spray. Wipe the edges off. And then I'm going to place this loaf into the bread pan. Okay, my camera went off for a minute because a message came through, but I do have both of my both of the doughs in the bread pans, and I'm going to set them aside in a warm spot. So this is what they look like. I'm going to set them aside and they will raise for another hour, and I'll come back and we'll finish this process. Okay, the oven is preheated. It's time to put the bread in. I'll show you these beautiful loaves here. You see that? Gorgeous. I'm going to put those now into my oven for 25 to 30 minutes. Okay, set the timer. I'm going to set it for 25 minutes. And if we need to go longer, then we can. I don't like to set it for the max. I like to be able to check it. So we'll come back. Okay, the timer's gone off. We're going to take a look and see how this bread looks. It's very pretty. It's nice and golden brown. I'm going to get both of the loaves out. I like to rub a little shortening on the tops of my bread just so that they don't get too crusty. So I'm going to get some Crisco here and put it a little bit on a paper towel and rub the tops. And you can do this with a pastry brush, but I just prefer to use a paper towel. And I'm using butter flavored Crisco, not that it matters. And once I get these coated, I'll take them off and put them on a wire rack to cool. Gosh, those are pretty. All right, I'm going to put the bread on this rack. Ooh. And let it cool before we cut into it to see how hopefully wonderful it tastes. All right, so I'm going to let it cool for about 15 minutes. All right, let's see how this slices up. Use a bread knife. Oh, sounds crusty. Oh, it looks beautiful. Look at that. No air bubbles. Let's try some butter. Let's see how this tastes. The whole wheat gives it a little more flavor. I don't taste any of the oats. I don't know if that's good or bad. Has a really nice texture though. Very nice texture. I think I would do this again. So cooking cronies, a new recipe from my house to yours. I hope you enjoy it. Hope you give it a try. Let me know what you think about this altered recipe. And give us a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, please hit the subscribe button and alert to any new recipes that we have. So thank you for being a part of our Cooking Cronies videos. Take care and God bless.